name is Nicole Rosen, and I have 2 students in MCPS. I'm high risk for COVID and am extremely COVID cautious. I strictly mask and social distance. I follow all government guidelines. All of my doctor's appointments are virtual, and while I know it isn't medically necessary, I don't even go to the grocery store. I take this disease seriously, and I stand before you advocating for school reopening. And I will mask up without any hesitation to volunteer in school daily to help make this a reality. Millions of students and hundreds of thousands of teachers have returned to school. Schools up and down the coast, from one side of the country to the other, progressive districts to conservative districts, small districts and large inner city districts, way bigger than ours, have returned kids to school, and safely. According to Burbio, only a small fraction of kids have never returned to in-person learning. Our county is becoming an outlier, and not for a reason to be proud of. My friends in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and I could go on, are safely in school in person since the fall. They are shocked that we are not. Their kids are learning, are happy, and are gaining an unquestionable and significant advantage over our kids. My kids, on the other hand, are reporting not being taught a third of what they've been taught in years past, which is so sad, yet expected to learn the material nonetheless, and are drowning in subjects they have never even struggled in. Closing was absolutely necessary in the spring when we knew little about the virus, and I understand remaining virtual in September. We didn't want to be the guinea pigs, but 10 months later, shuttering schools is no longer necessary. We now know mitigation is effective at preventing disease spread in schools, even in areas where community spread is high. Science has illuminated that. Yet this week, after Governor Hogan stated there is no longer a public health reason to keep schools closed, I watched as teachers' unions across our state had a very coordinated and choreographed response stating lives must be the priority over education. And this is when I knew I had to speak out. Of course lives are the priority. It is insulting and misleading to suggest otherwise. And herein lies the rub. Research shows we no longer have to choose between education and health. The unions are setting up a false dichotomy. Every teacher I know is eager to return, but afraid to speak against the union. The tide is turning. Our governor is a Republican, our president is a Democrat, and on the very same day they both called for returning kids to classrooms. Why? Because our nation's leading public health experts have reviewed the science and say it's time. Please heed these bipartisan calls. Please seize this bipartisan moment. For the first time in a long time, you have real federal support and resources behind you, including a Secretary of Education who returned kids to school successfully in his own state of Connecticut. You cannot continue to kick the can down the road while we wait to see what the virus does or whether teachers feel comfortable returning. Nothing about this is comfortable for any of us. It's time to listen to science and tune out fear-mongering. Police officers, firefighters, grocery clerks, and other essential workers around the state know they cannot work remotely and proudly return to their posts. To those of us who voted for you, it's starting to feel like students aren't the priority. I hold out hope this isn't the case. Please restore my faith and open schools for small groups immediately and for all students by March 1st. Thank you.